Hey, what's up, guys? Another great horror magazine, right? Little Shop of Horrors. Now, this comes out, I think, quarterly. Um, they usually focus, I mean, when they go in on films, usually they focus on 2 films in here and some other things on the side. But when they go in, man, they go in, to use the vernacular, man. They go in deep, okay? In this film, also, they're covering one of my favorite creepy movies, the Creeping Flesh, the Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing film, not a Hammer film, but Freddie Francis directed it. I remember seeing this as a kid, and I saw it later as like when I was in my 20s or whatever. Creepy film, very effective, underrated film. But talking about the magazine, okay, the editor, the guy's a boomer, of course, they're all talking about, what, right? The Rona. I'm not gonna bother going over his things. They're boomers. What do you want? Okay, you could argue the whole thing. It's like, why, like in these goings down, why do you cover these horror magazines, good, bad, or indifferent? Post-war to now, it was all a sham. It was all an illusion. It was all boomer, consumerist, nonsense. While America was literally destroying itself and destroying the world. Well, I don't care. I love horror. Okay, horror is beyond that. Regardless of how it came out, it goes back to the 19th century. Just like yours truly's, I feel like my sentiments go to that, to Mother Europe. Okay, and so this magazine, they really go in very deep. I mean, look at the amount of text that you have. Oh, look at that, man! Bray Studios. A book on Bray Studios, that'd be really cool. And of course, I never got this. I know Seven Golden Vampires, but I haven't gotten that yet. I only got so much money, So I'm trying to buy land at some point. The way things are going. So you have different reviews and whatnot, but focus on here. I thought this was cool. This British actress was in some films. Yeah, pleasant lady, Yeah. I like this. She was in, was it The Devil? This is one of those non-horror Hammer films, The Devil Ship Pirates. Okay? Look at these lovely ladies. Yeah. Michael Ripper. I like that all these scenes with Michael Ripper, man. I like to see this because I'm always a fan. Like Michael Ripper is one of the character actors in Hammer. The guy looks like he's having fun, man. I always like that dude. They go with the Revenge of Frankenstein, right? The second Peter Cushing Frankenstein film. Remember, I will have my revenge. They will never be rid of me. I love that friggin' scene, man. Frankenstein literally, I mean, the first film, he's sort of this romantic, what do you call it, Byronic villain, right? But I like the way he escapes his fate from the guillotine, right? At the end of that, in this film, it's actually cool, man. That obnoxious priest gets what's coming to him. But the film is great because the Frankenstein literally, he is more of like a hero. I mean, he's sort of against this, the bourgeois medical establishment of the 19th century. Okay? And of course, you don't have a creature; you have something more tragic that happens. But it's I like the scene with the guy when the guy sort of wants to be his disciple, and he sort of tests him by putting the knife to his throat. I kind of like that scene. Right? I'm sure someone will say, "Oh, that was homoerotic." Yeah, I'm sure, darling. That's all it is to you. And this actress is in it, but and that chimp. Yeah. Oh, I don't stay away from those things, man. Yeah, I remember I remember that chimp in Connecticut. The woman was feeding it Xanax, and it ripped off her friend's face. Remember that story? Talking about horror. Oh. Anyway, like I said. This is what Little Shop of Horrors does. They go really in depth in the technical stuff. I mean, most of the analysis and the opinions are sort of sublimated to just the facts, right? Although there is something here later that I'll get into. Right? I always like the ending of it. I like how Frankenstein escapes and survives almost another another seemingly inescapable situation, and he ends up in London. Right? Isn't that cool? Because Frankenstein obviously is in Germany, and he ends up in London. I thought that was kind of a cool touch. So now the other film they covered, The Creeping Flesh. I don't know what to say. I remember seeing this as a kid and totally being freaked out. Okay, the film is essentially one of those you don't know what's going on. I'd say it's Lovecraftian to a degree. It's very much a weird tale. Okay, unreliable narrator, all that. And here you have the whole thing. You get opening credits. You have, they really going deep here. Okay? Of course, the story is about a skeleton that's discovered, and the scientist does experiments on it. Meanwhile, he's a very progressive guy. He wants to help cure. He wants to help the world. He wants to cure people of insanity and evil. Okay, and he thinks that this skeleton thing is going to help him do that. Well, Christopher Lee actually is not a villain in this. He is sort of not a nice guy, but he actually is a lot more sensible than Peter Cushing's character. It's very interesting that he's not, in this film, he's not really a villain. And Peter Cushing is not really a hero. And the production, like this, wow, the scene at the end, there's a, they use these POV shots, Freddie Francis, through a camera, through like a mask. And this is an interesting scene. Some people think it's ridiculous. I thought it was creepy. You actually have, with, handwritten addendums to actual typed up scripts. That was really cool. So, the film, the behind the scenes stuff, I could go on forever and ever, okay? What critique can I have of this? Well, okay, in this article, okay, the part of the film is that the guy's daughter, he's afraid that his daughter is going to go insane, like her mother, right? Who is this woman here? So in the article that's written here, they bring up the fact that, asylums, right, in the 19th century, when they started building those really big, Arkham-looking places, right, that the women were wrongly committed to the hysteria. Okay, now I'm not gonna get into all that. I'm sure some were. You look at the ones now. It's like, can you trade in a time machine and send them back there? But they seem to imply that the character of the mother here, who was a dancer, that Peter Cushing had her committed, because she was cheating on him. Never in the film do you see anything like that. Okay, in the film, the woman it legitimately is going mad. Okay, probably from syphilis, because it's also implied that the woman is sort of a courtesan. Okay, so there's a lot of tragedy there, and of course, the woman's supposed to be her daughter, right? And what happens? It actually is a lot of pathos in the film, but of course, now this is the thing. As a kid, this freaked me out. I didn't know what was going on. The scene here where water goes on the skeleton and it starts to grow flesh, right? And you get like this 8-foot tall ancient demon, might be an alien. It's definitely a Lovecraftian thing, right? It comes to get revenge, but does it? It's one of those endings to the film where you like, did it really happen? Was the guy just insane, or did it really? Of course, I'm always the guy that says it. Yeah, it did happen. Right. The music video I did for one of my old black metal songs, I did it last Halloween. I had made a plaster mask for some other project, and I filmed it through I put Vaseline on a little cheap lens that I clipped on the camera. It looked a lot like this thing. Man, this thing is creepy as hell, man. You could also argue that at the end, this thing sort of, oh wow, look at that, that's really cool. This thing sort of doesn't really do anything wrong. It sort of takes back what was taken from it, right? Let's see if I can show it. And there's Peter Cushing with the slippers, right? Remember they say he was wearing slippers when he was Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars? Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it kind of just takes back what's his. So it's kind of like a black humor thing too. Another thing I'll mention is the actress in this that plays the daughter. I assume she's Scottish from her name. The acting job that she does, right, is, right, she plays, I mean, look how beautiful she is, right? She plays a proper daughter, right, and then she plays an absolute mad woman, okay, who murders people and stuff like that. It's kind of, you know, and of course, like I said, Christopher Lee, he's not a nice guy, but he's not a villain at all in this. He's actually a guy, you know, there's a scene where he laments the fact that they can only do experiments on the insane, and they can't yet do it to normal people. Well, you know, you can now, Chris. You can do that now. It's being done at a scale never seen before in human history. Anyway, yeah, creeping flesh. There you go. There she is. And that's the I always hear Shepperton Studios. Wow, look how big that was. I'm always thinking that they filmed at like some guy's house somewhere, you know, in the countryside in southern England. But look at that, man. That thing was huge. They always talk about the food, and they have a bar, you know, they had a pub built in there. That would be awesome to go to. If I ever somehow went to the UK, which probably will never happen, you know, not because of the UK, but just because of, you know, events. And that's a cool scene. Yeah. So, but the movie aside, right? The magazine, there it goes. Look at the art too. The amount of art that they have here. You know, this almost looks like a novel cover, right? They really go, like I said, they go so in depth. This is a high quality magazine. Whatever little political things they put in sometimes, it's not as much as the others. Not even close. And to top it off, they have look, Christopher Wicking, right? He's talking to Michael Carreras. Look, Christopher Wicking wrote some of the scripts for some of the bleakest horror films. The Oblong Box, Blood from the Mummy's Tomb, a bunch of other films. And it's interesting here where you actually have, and this is what I'm saying, you have, obviously this is all, I guess, in public, you know, this is all property or whatever. You have Hammer trying to make deals. They wanted to make the Vampirella film. Right? That was one of the unmade Hammer concept films. A Vampirella film, obviously, Caroline Munro was, I think, probably going to be cast, right? But you see that what do they call it? Pre-production hell. You see them trying to develop things, saying letters back and forth. So Hammer Films, right? And he's talking about comics. At some point, I'll read it right here. Look. Marvel Comics Group, Madison Avenue, New York. Okay, all right. So apparently Hammer, even though it was near the end, they were interested in making some kind of a partnership with Marvel Comics, right? And Stan Lee was writing back. You know, they weren't sure what to do. You know, they were actually talking about maybe doing, look at this, Roy Thomas, right? Most importantly, the virtually closest of the two media, the interest shown towards movies by such writers as Roy Thomas and Steve Gerber, the very underrated Steve Gerber. So it's interesting that you have, you know, letters back and forth from Stan Lee to Christopher Wicking. You know, there was a whole idea. Look at it, they actually have, you know, concepts, right? Conan. Of course, we know about the problems. Imagine if Hammer had made a Conan film before the Milius film. That would be interesting. Man Thing, Killraven, Khazar, Deathlock, right? Master of Kung Fu, right? The Kung Fu craze is passe now in cinema. Luke Cage, Power Man, a black urban superhero, and a fine pulp concept. I thought this stuff is gold. I don't know. I like seeing this stuff. You know, when they were trying to make something happen just before Hammer went down in the '76. Right? Yeah. To the Devil a Daughter. That was the last one with Nastasia Kinski, I think, with Christopher Lee. Imagine if they had made Vampirella with Caroline Munro. Anyway, but Little Shop of Horrors, man, always quality. Whenever this comes out, the other comic store I go to, the guy actually tells me when it's gonna come out. That's how he knows I like this. So another good job, man. I don't want you to think it's all negative stuff. Yeah, a lot of the negative stuff is the stuff outside, but this This is quality, man. Good job. Later.